Hi, Steve Saylor here, and I'm going to talk about my accessibility thoughts on a preview of Star Wars Outlaws. So I got to thank Ubisoft for inviting me to a virtual demo event where I got to play at least 4 hours of the game across 2 different planets, across a ton of different gameplay, and also a ton of accessibility that I will talk about in a minute. But before I get into that, I want to just give my overall thoughts of playing this game. When I was playing a demo of this, about an hour's worth at Summer Game Fest, I was a bit worried that maybe my thoughts on the game, while it was extremely positive, was only based on just an hour of gameplay. I was worried that, the Ubisoft sort of bloat would come in if I played a little bit longer than that, and would I be interested in, going to whatever side quest that's on this giant map, or do I just, want to, try to go through the main story and keep going from there. But I gotta tell you, I was hooked from minute one, and when I was done the demo, I wanted to keep playing. I'm not kidding. I had an absolute blast. Now, granted, my expectations were pretty high. This is my most anticipated game of this year, and I was worried. I was worried that, Ubisoft has had great track records in the past for some great open world games. But when they, jump into Star Wars, I don't know if they were going to be able to make a great game, but I got to tell you, I was hooked from minute one. The setting, the story, the different types of syndicates that you can join or not join or screw over or help out, or all the things you can be able to do that is just in the Star Wars world is fascinating. And I absolutely loved it. And yes, while the maps are big on the different planets you go to, it doesn't feel like it essentially it overwhelms you, much like, say, the Valhalla map in Assassin's Creed, or even go like from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I know some folks have felt was too big in and of itself. But this, while yes, it is open zone, meaning that you go to different planets and the size is definitely changed, I would say the map still is pretty large enough that it feels big and it feels like lived in, it feels breathable, it feels dynamic, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. You can, breeze through the story if you like, but there are some fun little side things that you can just pick up along the way. An example, I overheard a conversation at a bar about a treasure that was hidden behind a waterfall. I was like, I'm gonna go take a look at that treasure. I went to it, and it led me down a multi-step story that I would have completely missed if I wasn't sitting at that bar at that same time. Now, granted, I know it's probably determined. You sit at that spot in the bar, or you lean up against the bar, you're going to hear that conversation anyway. But the fact that it felt like I was discovering this as I was playing really made me feel like I was part of the Star Wars world. And not only that, but you're building up different relationships with different experts that'll give you all your skill progression, so there's no RPG elements to basically take care of. There are also all the different syndicates that you can basically join or not join, all while this is set in the most tumultuous time in the galaxy, in the Star Wars canon, set in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, so where the Empire is at its peak power, and you feel that throughout the entire time. There is a lot here for Star Wars fans, and I think just fans of either heist games, or you're kind of like the underbelly of the law, or just whatever kind of like you can be able to tap into. Yes, it is a Star Wars game, and I think that's probably going to turn away some folks if you're not into Star Wars, but if you are a Star Wars fan, I am predicting this game might be for you. Now, as far as the accessibility is concerned, Ubisoft keeps adding more and more accessibility. You heard me talk about this before. They are constantly adding more accessibility to their games across all their franchises, and each game keeps adding more and more accessibility features, or just good game design that is also accessible, and they keep adding that into their games, and Star Wars Outlaws is no different. You get the entire suite of pretty much every single accessibility option or accessible design that they've included into their games of the past, and it's all here. The new additions, however, are the audio descriptions for cinematics, which every single cinematic has its own audio description for it, but also it has a much more fleshed out menu narrator that not only reads all the menus within the game, but it also narrates the HUD too, and kind of helps a little bit with navigational assistance, where if you ping the location you want to be able to go to or that you've tracked, it will not only tell you in the HUD where that is or how far away that is, but it will tell you the degree of which to turn your character and in which direction it is. So it'd be like if your ping was like 138 degrees to your left, I'm sorry, I was pointing on the camera, to your right, it will tell you that. The only nitpick I have with that is that if you're running and then you ping that, it only tells you the direction based off of where you initially held that ping. So that's the only nitpick I have for it, but it is a much more fleshed out narrator. Is it perfect? No, but it is definitely closing that gap of making an open world game fully accessible to those who are blind or low vision. There are a ton of other options that I would love to be able to talk about, but I will just show you some of the clips that I have of some of the cool things that I saw, or some highlights of Star Wars Outlaws accessibility.
Kay lies on the floor of the ship. Nix prods her head with his snout. She opens her eyes. He nuzzles her as she rubs her head.
We made it.
She scratches his feelers
Somehow.
and climbs into the pilot's seat. Kay scans the console.
Come on.
She flips the switch and sparks shoot out.
Huh. Hello.
She knocks the cover off a hidden panel. She flips the switch, and behind her, part of the wall slides back to reveal a hidden compartment. She grins as she shakes out a blue leather jacket. Nix
New
watches
equipment.
from her feet as she puts it on. She poses for him, showing its perfect fit. They turn to the rear cabin and make their way to the aft cargo hold. Kay squints into the glare of the sun as the loading ramp descends, revealing a rocky landscape that rises to a jagged outcrop, veined with red rock in the distance. She steps onto the ramp as it lowers, then dodges to the side as a Rhodian swings at her with a pipe. She draws her blaster and he raises his hands.
I'm sorry. I thought you were one of them.
The Rhodian looks back, then ducks down. Raiders fire at Kay from a skiff. She and Nix rush forward and take cover with the Rhodian behind some wreckage.
Lots of new friends today.
So that's an example of the audio description for the in-game cinematics for Star Wars Outlaws. You're going to get that across all the cinematics within the game. I've yet to be able to see whether or not it's sort of gameplay cinematics or just in like main cinematics that are only audio described. I haven't been able to fully see a lot of those just yet, but as far as I can tell, pretty much anytime there's a cinematic that pops up, there is an audio description for it, which is really, really great. This is an example of the gameplay where you have the option to either go in guns blazing sometimes or go stealth. I usually prefer stealth. That's kind of like my main MO. Whenever I play a game, I want to be able to go in and out without anyone knowing that I'm there. I've had that pretty much since Splinter Cell, and I've kept that sort of gameplay motif ever since. But one of the things I really want to be able to showcase here is the ability you have with your little buddy Nix. Nix has the capability of being able to do things from where you are in undercover or behind cover to be able to kind of do things still stealthily or, you know, activate or deactivate anything that, you know, your character Kay cannot reach. In this particular example, it really does help in regards to stealth. As you saw, there are several options you can be able to choose from in certain situations. You can either disable power, you can attack somebody, you can distract someone, or set off a detonation, or like you saw there, basically knock something down from the ceiling, which I had hoped that actually would distract the guards, but it didn't. But in this particular case, I was trying to be able to actually disable power, and I was trying to be able to see what other options were available to me. And just a little Nick's icon will kind of pop up overhead, letting you know which one you want to do. I chose the attack here. To be honest, actually, I hit the wrong button, so that wasn't intentional. But as you can see, Nick's will basically just jump on a person's head, distract the guards, and it gives me the opportunity to be able to get the upper hand without the guards ever seeing that I'm there, and you can then be able to take them out. One really cool thing with Nick's, though, is that if you're hidden behind anything, you don't want to, and you might get caught if you come out of cover, you can send Nick's to be able to pick up little items around the area and then take them to you. I wish I had this in so many other games. Now here's actually a fun little Red Dead Redemption inspired option here. Whenever you use K's adrenaline, you can be able to hit the left and right stick together. You can actually be able to mark your targets, and then you can be able to do a cool little finishing move with your blaster and take the enemies out. Kind of fun, little neat. Oh, here's actually some narration I want to be able to show you.
Right stick location discovered. Mirogana. Toshara. Underworld. Objective, reach Makel's Cantina. 193 meters away. Objective marker is minus 28 degrees to your left. View button, open journal.
Now here's some of the puzzle accessibility in the game. There's this little puzzle where you have to hit a button on a rhythm that's displayed, but it has like a little option to be able to turn on to have the circle pop up. So it kind of gives you a quick little visual of where when you need to hit the button. It does get a little bit difficult a little bit later on, but it's still pretty cool. Here's actually a fun decrypting puzzle where it actually uses Wordle as the sort of gameplay mechanic. I'm using an option that I turned on where it turns the symbols into numbers instead, but it still has the same type of Wordle where it basically displays blue if you got it correct in the right spot, X if you got it wrong, or yellow with a little arrows to let you know you got the right number but in the wrong spot. There is some colorblind issues that I found with that one, but the symbols are there that actually kind of help. I did also have a bug with the high contrast mode, but that was back in Summer Game Fest, so I think that's been fixed since then. But anyway, really cool puzzle. It actually helps out. You know, and here's the space exploration within the game. I didn't get a chance to be able to do any of the space combat in the 4-hour demo, but I did get to in the Summer Game Fest demo that I played, and it carries some of the accessibility that is on the ground as it does in space. I will say that basically we're looking at the HUD and you can be able to scan different areas and be able to find different treasures in this in the area of space that you're in. It's still pretty cool. There's a lot of great stuff here. But this is where I'm going to end the video. I'm going to end it on a jump into hyperspace. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. If you like this video, please give it a like, thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel to be able to keep the channel growing. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and, you know, may the force be with you. Punch it!
Let's punch it.